Hey Gemini, what's going on? I hope you're doing well today. So I wanted to sit down and have a really honest conversation with you about something that I know has been on your mind. The question you've been asking yourself, maybe late at night when you can't sleep, or when a certain song comes on, or when you see something that reminds you of them. The question is simple but so loaded. Is your ex still emotionally attached to you? I know this might feel vulnerable to even wonder about. But here's the thing, Gemini, you're not alone in asking this. So many of you have reached out asking for clarity on this specific situation. You want to know if they still think about you, if they still feel something, if there's still that invisible thread connecting you both even though you're not together anymore. And honestly, I get it, because sometimes the not knowing is harder than any answer could be. So today I'm going to do a reading specifically for you, Gemini. I'm asking the cards to show me what's really going on in your ex's emotional world when it comes to you. Are they still attached? Do they still have feelings? What's the truth here? And I have to tell you, the cards are already giving me such interesting energy as I shuffle them. There's something here that you need to know. Before I start pulling cards, though, I want you to take a moment. Just breathe. Whatever comes through in this reading, it's meant to give you clarity and help you move forward in the best way possible, whether that's closure, hope, or just understanding. The universe has messages for you today, and I'm here to deliver them as honestly as I can. All right. Let me pull the first card and see what we're working with here. I'm asking the cards to show me the core of your ex's emotional state regarding you right now. What's really going on beneath the surface? Okay, the first card I pulled is Death. Now, before you panic, because I know that card can sound scary, let me explain what I'm seeing here. Death in tarot is about transformation and endings that make way for new beginnings. What this tells me immediately is that your ex has been going through a major internal transformation since you two separated. This isn't just surface-level stuff, Gemini. This is deep, soul-level change happening within them. The interesting thing about Death showing up first is that it suggests your ex recognizes that the relationship as it was has ended. They're not living in denial about that. They understand on some level that things have shifted and changed. But here's where it gets complex. Death is also about the process of letting go, and that process isn't always complete just because someone intellectually understands something is over. There can be emotional attachments that linger even during profound transformation. What I'm picking up is that your ex is in this state of metamorphosis. They're shedding old versions of themselves, old patterns, old ways of being. And you, Gemini, you are part of a significant chapter of their life. So as they transform, they're having to process what you meant to them, what the relationship meant, and how to integrate that into who they're becoming. This isn't a clean, simple process. It's messy and emotional and complicated. The Death card suggests that yes, there is still emotional attachment, but it's complicated by this transformation they're going through. They might be attached to the memory of who you were together, or attached to the lessons they learned from you, or attached to the version of themselves that existed in the relationship. It's not necessarily that they want to get back together, but they're still energetically processing what you meant to their life journey. I also want to point out that Death can indicate someone is in a period of deep reflection and internal work. Your ex might be doing a lot of soul-searching right now. They might be asking themselves big questions about life, love, and what they really want. And in that process, thoughts of you come up because you were part of their story. You helped shape who they're becoming, even if you're no longer in their life. So the short answer from this card is yes, there's still an emotional attachment, but it's evolving. It's changing form. They're not stuck in the past, but they're also not completely free from it either. They're in the middle of transformation, and you're part of what they're transforming away from, which means you're very much still in their consciousness. Let me pull another card to dig deeper into this. I want to know what specific emotions your ex is carrying when they think about you. The second card is Ace of Wands. Oh, this is interesting. So the Ace of Wands is all about passion, inspiration, and new creative energy. When I see this in the context of your ex's emotions about you, it tells me something really specific. Your ex associates you with a spark. You represented something exciting and stimulating in their life. Even now, when they think back on your time together, there's this memory of passion and vitality. But here's what's important to understand about the Ace of Wands in this position. This card represents potential and new beginnings. What I think is happening is that your ex is experiencing conflicting emotions. On one hand, as we saw with Death, they know things have transformed and changed. But on the other hand, the Ace of Wands suggests that the memory of the passion you shared, the excitement, the spark, that's still alive in them. This could manifest in different ways. Maybe they occasionally feel a surge of desire or curiosity about you. Maybe they remember the good times and feel that flutter of what once was. The Ace of Wands is about raw, primal energy, so I don't think these are deep, contemplative thoughts. These are more like spontaneous emotional reactions. Like they see something that reminds them of you and suddenly they feel that rush of energy. What's really interesting here is that the Ace of Wands is also about inspiration. I'm getting the sense that you inspired something in your ex. Maybe you helped them see new possibilities in life, or you brought out a more passionate, adventurous side of them. And even though you're not together, that inspiration you planted is still growing in them. They might not even fully realize it, but you awakened something in them that continues to develop. So in terms of emotional attachment, the Ace of Wands tells me there's definitely still a spark there. It's not a heavy, burdensome attachment. It's more like embers that occasionally flare up. Your ex probably doesn't spend every day thinking about you, but when they do, there's still that energetic charge. There's still that recognition of what you brought to their life. I also want to mention that aces represent new cycles. This could suggest that your ex is at the beginning of understanding their feelings about you in a new way. Maybe initially after the breakup they felt one thing, but now as time has passed and they've processed more, they're entering a new phase of understanding what you meant to them. It's like they're discovering or rediscovering their feelings from a fresh perspective. The combination of Death and Ace of Wands is telling me that your ex is going through major transformation, but there's still vital energy connected to you in their psyche. They're not indifferent. They're not completely moved on, but they're also not stuck. They're in this interesting middle space where they're changing and growing, but you're still part of their emotional landscape. Let me pull the third card because I want to understand what your ex actually does with these feelings. How do they handle the attachment that's still there? Okay, I just pulled the Hierophant. This is a really significant card in this context. The Hierophant is about tradition, convention, structure, and seeking guidance or wisdom from established systems. When I see this card in relation to how your ex is handling their attachment to you, it tells me something really specific about their approach. Your ex is probably trying to deal with their feelings about you in a very structured, maybe even conventional way. They might be talking to friends, maybe they've sought advice from family, or they could even be in therapy processing the relationship. The Hierophant suggests they're not just wallowing in emotion. They're trying to understand things intellectually. And through established frameworks, this could also mean that your ex is looking at the relationship and the breakup through the lens of what's proper or appropriate. They might be telling themselves things like, "We broke up for good reasons, I need to respect boundaries, it's right to move forward," that kind of thing. The Hierophant is very much about doing what's considered right or proper, according to social or personal moral codes. What's interesting is that this card can sometimes indicate someone is seeking permission or validation for their feelings. Your ex might be confused about whether it's okay to still have feelings for you or think about you. They might be asking themselves or others, "Is it normal that I still feel this way? Should I reach out or would that be wrong?" The Hierophant seeks answers from external wisdom rather than just following impulse. This also tells me that your ex is probably not acting on whatever emotional attachment remains. Even if they feel that Ace of Wands spark when they think of you, the Hierophant says they're keeping it contained within acceptable boundaries. They're being responsible about it, following the rules they've set for themselves, or that others have advised them to follow. There's also an element here of your ex perhaps seeking spiritual or philosophical understanding about the relationship. The Hierophant can represent looking for deeper meaning. They might be trying to understand what the relationship was meant to teach them, what the purpose of your connection was in the bigger picture. This is someone who's processing things on multiple levels, not just emotional but also spiritual and intellectual. The Hierophant can sometimes indicate someone is being a bit rigid or traditional in their thinking. So your ex might be telling themselves a story about the breakup that's very black and white. They might be trying to fit the experience into a neat box that makes sense according to conventional wisdom, even if their actual feelings are more complicated. So to directly answer how they're handling the attachment, I'd say your ex is being very measured and controlled about it. They're not reaching out impulsively. They're not making dramatic gestures. They're processing things in a structured way and probably following advice they've received about how to handle post-breakup feelings. Whether that's healthy or not depends on the situation, but it's clear they're trying to do what they think is the right thing. This combination of cards so far is painting a picture of someone who is genuinely transforming their life, who still feels energetic pulls toward you, but who is managing those feelings in a very controlled and conventional manner. It's complex, which honestly makes sense because human emotions are complex, especially when it comes to past relationships that mattered. Let me pull another card. I want to know if your ex has any regrets about the relationship or the breakup. The fourth card is Page of Pentacles. Okay, this is really interesting in the context of regrets. The Page of Pentacles is about learning, being studious, and looking at things with fresh eyes. Pages in general represent youthful energy and the beginning stages of understanding something new. What I'm getting from this card is that your ex is in a learning phase about the relationship and what went wrong. Rather than being consumed by regret in a painful way, they're approaching the past with curiosity and a desire to understand. The Page of Pentacles is practical and wants to extract valuable lessons from every experience. This suggests that yes, your ex probably does have some regrets, but they're processing them in an educational way. They're asking themselves questions like, what could I have done differently? What did I learn about myself? What do I need to work on for future relationships? The Page of Pentacles doesn't wallow, they study and analyze. There's also something here about your ex possibly regretting not being more grounded or practical during the relationship. Pentacles represent the material world, practical matters, and earthly concerns. The Page of Pentacles appearing could mean they're looking back and thinking, maybe I wasn't mature enough, maybe I didn't handle the practical aspects of the relationship well, maybe I took things for granted. The beautiful thing about this card is that it shows someone who is committed to growth. Your ex isn't just sitting around feeling bad about the past. They're actively trying to learn from it so they can do better in the future. This is actually a really healthy approach to dealing with a breakup. But let me be real with you, Gemini. The fact that the Page of Pentacles showed up tells me the regrets your ex has are genuine, but they're not overwhelming. They're not consumed by thoughts of what they should have done differently. Instead, they're taking a measured, almost academic approach to processing the relationship. They're treating it as a learning experience. There's also an element of your ex possibly feeling like they were young or inexperienced in some way during the relationship. The Page energy is very much about being at the beginning of a journey. They might look back and think, I wasn't ready, or I didn't know what I know now. This isn't necessarily about actual age, but about emotional or relational maturity. The Page of Pentacles also suggests your ex is focused on building something new in their life right now. They're investing in themselves, maybe focusing on career, education, health, or personal development. And as they do this self-improvement work, they occasionally look back at the relationship and see it as a stepping stone in their journey. A valuable lesson that helped them get to where they are now. So do they have regrets? Yes, but they're constructive regrets. They're the kind of regrets that lead to growth rather than paralysis. Your ex is using whatever pain or disappointment they feel as fuel to become a better version of themselves. And honestly, that's probably the healthiest way to handle regret about a past relationship. This also tells me that the emotional attachment we've been exploring isn't based in wishful thinking about the past. Your ex isn't romanticizing what was. They're seeing it clearly, including the problems and mistakes. The attachment that remains is more about acknowledging that you were significant and that the relationship mattered, even as they continue to grow beyond it. Let me pull the next card. I want to understand what's blocking your ex from either fully moving on or possibly reaching out to you. The fifth card is the Magician. Oh wow, this is powerful. The Magician is about having all the tools and resources you need to manifest your desires. This card represents someone who has power, skill, and the ability to make things happen. In the context of what's blocking your ex, this is really interesting because the Magician isn't typically a blocking energy. But let me tell you what I'm picking up here. Your ex knows they have the power to reach out to you if they wanted to. They have your number, they could send a message, they could make contact. The Magician says they're very aware of their own agency in this situation. But here's the thing. The Magician also represents someone who is using their power and focus elsewhere. Your ex is channeling their energy into other areas of their life right now. They're manifesting things for themselves, working on personal goals, creating their own reality. And that requires focus and intention. So what's blocking them from either fully moving on or reaching out is actually their conscious choice to direct their energy elsewhere. It's not that they can't think about you or can't reach out. It's that they're choosing to focus on themselves and their own path right now. The Magician is very self-directed. There's also something here about your ex feeling like they need to have their life more together before they could even consider reconnecting with you. The Magician has all the tools laid out on the table, but they're still in the process of mastering how to use them. Your ex might feel like they're not ready, that they need to become more of who they want to be before they could show up for you in any capacity. The Magician can also represent communication and self-expression. The block here might be that your ex doesn't know how to express what they're feeling. They have complex emotions, as we've seen from the other cards, but they don't know how to articulate them in a way that would be productive or meaningful. So they stay silent. What I'm really picking up is that your ex is in a period of intense self-development right now. They're working on themselves, building their skills, manifesting their goals. And while they still have feelings connected to you, they're consciously choosing to prioritize their own growth. The Magician is about mastery, and your ex wants to master themselves before dealing with the complexity of past relationships. This is someone who is being very intentional with their energy. They understand that reaching out to you or even dwelling too much on the past would distract from what they're trying to create for themselves right now. So they're exercising discipline and control. The Magician also suggests that your ex is aware of the power they hold in this dynamic. They know that if they reached out, it would affect you. They know their actions have impact, and they're being careful about how they wield that power. This could be out of respect for you, or it could be because they don't want to complicate their own path forward. So the block isn't fear exactly, and it's not indifference. It's conscious choice and self-focus. Your ex is choosing themselves right now. They're choosing their own development, their own goals, their own path. And while that might be disappointing if you were hoping for reconnection, it's actually a sign of someone who is growing and maturing. The combination of these cards is really showing me someone who is deeply in process. Your ex is transforming, learning, focusing on themselves, and managing their emotions in a structured way. The attachment is there, but they're actively choosing not to indulge it because they have other priorities right now. Let me pull another card. I want to know what your ex's true feelings are beneath all the processing and self-focus. What's in their heart when they're completely honest with themselves about you? Okay, the sixth card is the Star. This is beautiful and also quite revealing. The Star is about hope, healing, inspiration, and renewed faith. When I see this card in relation to your ex's true feelings about you, it tells me something really touching. Deep down, beneath all the transformation and self-focus and structured processing, your ex holds you in their heart as a source of hope and inspiration. The Star appears after the Tower, after destruction and chaos, and it represents finding light again. You represented something hopeful in your ex's life, or the relationship did, even if it didn't work out. What I'm feeling from this card is that your ex genuinely wishes you well. The Star is one of the most positive cards in the deck, and it suggests that when your ex thinks of you from a place of true honesty, there's warmth there. There's appreciation. There's a recognition that you brought light to their life at a time when maybe they needed it. The Star is also about healing, and I think your ex sees the relationship, even with its ending, as part of their healing journey. Maybe you helped them heal from something that came before you. Or maybe the relationship itself, including its ending, taught them something they needed to learn in order to heal old wounds. There's a purity to the Star energy. It's not possessive or desperate. It's not obsessed. It's simply appreciative and hopeful. Your ex might genuinely hope that you're doing well, that you're happy, that you're finding your way, and they might hold on to a quiet hope that the time you spent together meant something positive for both of you. The Star can also represent wishes and dreams. Your ex might occasionally daydream about you, not in a pining way, but in a gentle what-if way. These aren't desperate fantasies. They're more like soft wonderings, like looking up at the stars and thinking about the vastness of possibility. What's really touching about this card is that it suggests your ex's feelings for you are fundamentally positive. Even though the relationship ended, even though they're moving forward with their life, the core emotional truth is that they think of you kindly. You're associated in their heart with hope and inspiration, not with bitterness or regret. The Star is also about authenticity and being true to oneself. This could suggest that with you, your ex felt like they could be their authentic self, or that you inspired them to be more authentic. That's a gift that stays with someone, even after the relationship ends. I'm also getting that the Star represents a kind of spiritual connection your ex still feels toward you. Not necessarily romantic, but a sense that you were meant to be in each other's lives for a reason. That the universe brought you together to teach each other something or to help each other grow. Your ex might believe in that kind of cosmic connection, and they see your relationship as part of their larger spiritual journey. So the true feelings, the heart of the matter, is that your ex cares about you in a very pure way. They're grateful for what you brought to their life. They hope you're well. They see you as a positive force in their story. And while they're moving forward with their own path, there's a soft spot in their heart for you that probably isn't going away anytime soon. This doesn't necessarily mean they want to get back together, but it does mean the emotional attachment is rooted in genuine positive feelings rather than unresolved negative ones. And honestly, Gemini, that's a beautiful thing, even if it's bittersweet. Let me pull another card. I want to understand what the future holds regarding this situation. Will your ex reach out? Will there be closure? What's coming? The 7th card is 7 of Pentacles. This is really interesting timing-wise. The 7 of Pentacles is about patience, assessment, and waiting for your investments to pay off. This card appears when someone is in a period of evaluation, looking at what they've been working toward and deciding if they're on the right path. In terms of what's coming regarding your ex and the emotional attachment they have to you, the 7 of Pentacles suggests a period of waiting and reassessment. Your ex is not going to rush into anything. They're taking their time to evaluate their feelings, their life, and what they really want. This card tells me that in the near future, your ex will be doing a lot of contemplation about relationships in general, and possibly about you specifically. The 7 of Pentacles is someone standing back and looking at their garden, wondering if the plants are growing the way they hoped. Your ex is doing that with their life right now. There might be a moment coming where your ex really takes stock of what they've been building since the breakup. They'll look at the new life they've created and ask themselves if it feels complete or if something is missing. The 7 of Pentacles is about that moment of honest assessment. Now, does this mean they'll reach out? The 7 of Pentacles doesn't give a definitive yes or no on that. What it says is that if they do reach out, it won't be impulsive. It will come after a long period of thought and consideration. They'll want to make sure that reaching out is the right move, that they're doing it for the right reasons, and that they have something meaningful to offer. This card also suggests that progress regarding this situation will be slow. If you're hoping for quick resolution or dramatic action, the 7 of Pentacles says that's not the energy here. Things will unfold gradually. Your ex is taking the long view, thinking about what they want their life to look like months or even years from now, not just in the immediate future. The 7 of Pentacles can also indicate frustration with the pace of progress. Your ex might be frustrated that they still think about you, or frustrated that moving on is taking longer than they expected. They invested emotional energy in the relationship, and like a gardener waiting for crops, they're having to be patient with the process of healing and transformation. For you, Gemini, this card is advice to practice patience as well. Whatever closure or resolution you're seeking regarding your ex's feelings, it's not going to come quickly. The universe is asking both of you to give this situation time to develop naturally. Forced outcomes won't work with the 7 of Pentacles energy. There's also a message here about focusing on your own growth during this waiting period. Just as your ex is tending their garden, you should be tending yours. Don't put your life on hold wondering what your ex is feeling or if they'll reach out. Focus on your own investments in yourself, your goals, your healing, your future. The 7 of Pentacles appearing in the future position tells me that the story between you and your ex isn't necessarily over, but it's in a long intermission. Both of you are doing your own work, growing in your own ways. And eventually, there will be a moment of reassessment where the picture becomes clearer. I do want to mention that this card can sometimes indicate a return or reconnection, but only after significant time has passed and both parties have grown. So if reconciliation is something you want, it's not off the table, but it would be down the road, not in the immediate future. And it would require both of you to have evolved beyond who you were in the relationship. Let me pull another card because I want to understand what you, Gemini, need to know or do during this time while your ex processes their feelings. The 8th card is 9 of Cups. Oh, this is wonderful for you. The 9 of Cups is often called the wish card, or the card of emotional satisfaction and contentment. When I see this in your position, it's a clear message from the universe about what you need to focus on. Gemini, the message for you is to focus on your own emotional fulfillment and happiness. The 9 of Cups says stop putting your emotional well-being on hold waiting to know what your ex feels or what they'll do. You deserve to be happy and content regardless of whether your ex is still attached to you or not. This card is encouraging you to pursue what brings you joy, What makes you feel satisfied? What fills your cup emotionally? The Nine of Cups is about celebrating life and feeling grateful for what you have. It's time for you to create that energy in your own life without making it dependent on your ex's feelings or actions. There's something really powerful here about self-sufficiency in terms of emotional needs. The Nine of Cups suggests you have everything you need within yourself to be happy. You don't need your ex to validate you or choose you or confirm their feelings for you. You can be whole and content on your own. This card is also about wishes coming true, but here's the thing. The wishes that come true with the Nine of Cups are the ones where you've done the internal work to be ready for them. So if you're wishing for reconciliation with your ex, this card says you need to first get to a place where you're happy and fulfilled on your own. Paradoxically, the way to potentially attract your ex back is to not need them back. The Nine of Cups is also telling you to practice gratitude for the relationship you had, even though it ended. There were good times, moments of joy, lessons learned, growth achieved. The card is asking you to honor those positive aspects without getting stuck in the past or in longing for what was. I'm also getting a message that your own emotional contentment will actually influence the situation with your ex in subtle ways. When you're genuinely happy and fulfilled, you emanate different energy out into the world. And your ex, who still has an energetic connection to you as we've seen in this reading, will feel that shift. It might even prompt their own reflection and reassessment. The Nine of Cups is encouragement to date yourself, to romance yourself, to treat yourself the way you'd want a partner to treat you. Take yourself on adventures, buy yourself flowers, celebrate your wins, comfort yourself in hard times. Be your own source of happiness. This card also suggests that whether or not your ex reaches out or you two reconnect, you're entering a period of emotional abundance. Good things are coming to you in your emotional life. This could be new friendships, new romantic interests, or simply a deeper relationship with yourself. The universe is preparing to grant you wishes, so make sure you're wishing for things that truly serve your highest good. What I love about the Nine of Cups appearing here is that it takes the focus off the question of whether your ex is still attached and puts it back on what really matters, which is your own well-being and happiness. Your ex's feelings, whatever they are, don't determine your worth or your future. You get to create your own emotional satisfaction. So the guidance for you, Gemini, is clear. Stop giving so much energy to wondering about your ex. Start giving that energy to yourself. Fill your own cup. Create your own joy. Live your life fully. And trust that whatever is meant to happen with your ex will happen in divine timing, but it doesn't have to be the source of your happiness. Let me pull one more card. I want to see what the overall energy is surrounding this situation and what the universe wants you both to understand. The ninth card is Ace of Cups. This is significant because we now have two aces in this reading, which is about new beginnings and fresh starts. The Ace of Cups specifically is about new emotional beginnings, overflowing love, and emotional opportunities. What this tells me about the overall energy is that despite the complexity of the feelings your ex has and the journey you're both on, there's a real potential for emotional renewal here. The Ace of Cups represents an opening, an opportunity for something new to emerge from what was. This doesn't necessarily mean getting back together, though it could include that possibility. What the Ace of Cups is really saying is that both you and your ex have the opportunity to experience love in a new way, whether that's love for yourselves, love for others, or a renewed love for each other transformed into something different and healthier than it was before. The Ace of Cups is an overflowing cup, which is interesting in contrast to the Nine of Cups we just pulled for you. Together, these cards suggest that as you fill your own cup with self-love and contentment, you create space for new emotional gifts to flow into your life. You can't receive from an empty cup. For your ex, the Ace of Cups suggests that their heart is opening again after the transformation represented by death. They're becoming capable of love and emotional connection in new ways. The work they're doing on themselves is preparing them to show up differently in relationships going forward. The overall energy here is actually quite hopeful. Even though there's complexity and both of you are processing things in your own way and on your own timeline, the universe is creating conditions for emotional healing and new beginnings. The Ace of Cups is like a blessing on this entire situation. I'm getting that the universe wants you both to understand that this ending, this time apart, this period of growth, it's all serving a higher purpose. The Ace of Cups appears when Spirit is offering you a gift. That gift might be wrapped in unexpected packaging. It might not look like what you thought you wanted, but it's a gift nonetheless. The Ace of Cups also represents forgiveness and emotional release. There's an invitation here for both you and your ex to forgive yourselves and each other for anything that went wrong in the relationship, to release any resentment, anger, or hurt, and to allow love in its purest form to wash over the whole situation. This card is about emotional authenticity and vulnerability. The universe might be preparing both of you for a conversation or interaction where you can be truly honest about your feelings without agenda or expectation. Just pure emotional truth. Whether that happens in person, through a message, or simply energetically, there's potential for that kind of healing exchange. What's beautiful about the Ace of Cups is that it represents unconditional love. Not the attachment-based love that causes us suffering, but the kind of love that wishes the best for someone regardless of whether they're in our life. That's the energy available here. Your ex can love you without needing to be with you. You can love your ex while still moving forward with your own life. The Ace of Cups, as the overall energy, suggests that this question you asked, about whether your ex is still emotionally attached, comes from a place of love in your own heart. You're asking because you still care, and that's okay. The card is validating that caring about someone doesn't mean you're weak or stuck. It means you're human and capable of genuine connection. The universe wants you to know that love is never wasted, even when relationships end. The love you shared with your ex, the love you still carry, the love they still feel in whatever form, it's all part of the beautiful tapestry of being human. The Ace of Cups honors all of that. Let me pull one final card to give you a clear message about what to do with all this. Information and how to move forward with peace and clarity. The 10th and final card is 9 of Pentacles. This is perfect. The 9 of Pentacles is about independence, self-sufficiency, and enjoying the fruits of your labor. This card shows someone who is completely comfortable in their own company, who has built a beautiful life for themselves, and who doesn't need external validation or companionship to feel complete. The message couldn't be clearer, Gemini. The way forward is to focus on building your own beautiful, independent life. The 9 of Pentacles says you have everything you need to create abundance, beauty, and satisfaction for yourself. You don't need to wait for your ex to decide anything or do anything. This card represents someone who has worked hard on themselves and is now reaping the rewards. All the self-development, healing, and personal growth you've been doing or need to do, it's going to pay off. You're entering or being called into an era of your life where you feel confident, capable, and self-possessed. The 9 of Pentacles is also about luxury and treating yourself well. This is encouragement to invest in yourself, to create a life that feels abundant and pleasurable. Whether that's through your career, your living space, your hobbies, your friendships, or your appearance, you're being asked to cultivate richness in your life. What I love about this card appearing in the final position is that it shows you don't need closure from your ex to move forward. You don't need them to confirm their feelings or give you answers. You can create your own closure by choosing to focus on yourself and your own path. The 9 of Pentacles is about self-determination. There's also a message here about patience and allowing things to develop in their own time. The 9 of Pentacles person doesn't rush or force anything. They trust the process and enjoy the journey. If your ex is meant to come back into your life in some way, it will happen naturally without you pushing for it. This card is also encouraging you to raise your standards for what you accept in relationships. The 9 of Pentacles person knows their worth and doesn't settle. Whatever happens with your ex or in future relationships, you should only allow people into your life who add to the abundance you're creating, not take away from it. The combination of 9 of Cups and 9 of Pentacles as advice for you is powerful. Together, they're saying emotional fulfillment and material abundance come from focusing on yourself. When you're in that energy of self-sufficiency and contentment, you become magnetic. You attract what's meant for you effortlessly. So here's what I want you to take away from this reading, Gemini. Yes, your ex is still emotionally attached to you. The cards clearly showed that. But that attachment is complex. They're transforming, they're learning, they're focusing on themselves, and they're being deliberate about how they handle their feelings. The attachment is there, but it's not driving their actions right now. Your ex has genuine positive feelings about you represented by the star. You meant something significant to them. But they're in a period of self-development represented by the Magician and Page of Pentacles. They're not ready to act on whatever attachment remains. The future, shown by Seven of Pentacles, suggests a long period of reassessment and slow progress. Nothing is going to happen quickly. Both of you need time to grow independently, and most importantly, the message for you is to focus on yourself. Nine of Cups and Nine of Pentacles are both telling you the same thing. Create your own happiness, build your own beautiful life, fill your own cup, and trust that you're exactly where you need to be. The Ace of Cups energy surrounding everything says there's potential for emotional renewal and new beginnings. But that potential gets activated when both people are complete within themselves. So the path forward isn't about waiting for your ex or wondering what they feel. It's about becoming so whole and fulfilled that whatever happens with them becomes just one possibility among many, not the determining factor of your happiness. I want to address something that might be on your mind right now. You might be thinking, okay, but what do I actually do with this information? Do I reach out? Do I wait? Do I try to move on completely? And here's what I want to say about that. The cards aren't giving you a clear directive to reach out or to cut ties completely. What they're showing is that this is a situation that needs space and time. Your ex is processing things in their own way, doing their own work, and that's something you have to respect, even if it's frustrating. And you need to be doing the same thing on your end. If you're constantly checking their social media, analyzing their every move, waiting for signs that they're thinking about you, you're giving away your power. The Nine of Pentacles specifically asks you to reclaim that power, to stand in your own energy, to be so focused on creating your best life that you're not available for breadcrumbs or mixed signals. Here's something I've learned from doing these readings for years. When someone is truly meant to be in your life, the universe has a way of making it happen without you having to force it. The people who are supposed to find their way back to you will do so when the timing is right for both of you. And the people who aren't meant to return, well, their absence creates space for something better to enter. The emotional attachment your ex has to you isn't going anywhere overnight. Death showed us they're transforming, but you're part of that process. The Ace of Wands showed us there's still a spark there. The Star showed us they hold you in their heart positively. But the Hierophant showed us they're being very controlled and structured about it, and the Magician showed us they're choosing to focus their energy elsewhere right now. So what does all of this mean practically? It means your ex thinks about you. They probably care about you. They might even miss certain things about the relationship. But they're not in a place to act on those feelings right now, because they're prioritizing their own growth and development. And honestly, that's probably the healthiest thing they could be doing, even if it's not what you want to hear. The Seven of Pentacles in the future position is really important because it's telling you that if anything is going to shift in this dynamic, it's going to happen after a significant period of time. We're talking months, not weeks. Both of you need to live your lives, have new experiences, grow and change. And then maybe, at some point down the road, there will be a moment where reassessment happens and paths cross again. But here's the crucial part, and I really want you to hear this. You cannot put your life on hold waiting for that maybe. You cannot pause your healing, your growth, your happiness, your dating life, your joy, waiting to see if your ex comes to some realization about their feelings. That's not fair to you, and it's not what the universe is asking of you. The universe is asking you to live fully, to embrace the Nine of Pentacles energy and create a life so rich and fulfilling that you don't need anyone to complete it. And then, if your ex does come back around, you'll be in a position to evaluate clearly whether that's actually what you want. Because you won't be coming from a place of lack or longing. You'll be coming from a place of abundance and self-sufficiency. And if your ex doesn't come back around, you'll already be living your best life. You won't have wasted time waiting and wondering. You'll have been building something beautiful for yourself. That's the win-win scenario the cards are pointing you toward. I also want to talk about the Ace of Cups for a moment because I think there's a deeper message there. This card appearing in the overall energy suggests that new love is available to you. And that new love might be with your ex in a completely transformed dynamic, or it might be with someone new, or it might be a deeper love affair with yourself and your own life. The universe isn't limiting you to one option. What the Ace of Cups is really saying is stay open. Keep your heart open even though it's been hurt. Keep yourself available for emotional connection and vulnerability. Don't close off or become bitter or cynical. The fact that things didn't work out with your ex doesn't mean you're not worthy of incredible love. It just means that particular configuration wasn't right at that particular time. And you know what, Gemini? Sometimes the greatest gift an ex can give us is space. Space to find ourselves again, to remember who we are outside of the relationship, to discover what we really want and need. The time apart from your ex might feel painful now, but it's actually an opportunity. An opportunity to grow in ways you couldn't have if you'd stayed together. The Page of Pentacles energy your ex is in, that student energy, that learning energy, it's mirrored in what you should be doing too. Be a student of your own life. Learn about yourself. What patterns do you need to break? What wounds need healing? What dreams have you been putting off? What version of yourself are you being called to become? Your ex is doing that work on themselves, and you need to be doing it too. Not so you can get back together, but so you can both become fuller, more healed, more whole versions of yourselves. And if you do end up reconnecting down the road, you'll be two completely different people than who you were in the relationship. And maybe those new versions will be compatible in ways the old versions weren't. Or maybe those new versions will realize they're better off as friends or as positive memories in each other's lives. The point is, you can't know any of that right now. The Seven of Pentacles is literally telling you that you're in a waiting and growing period. So lean into that. Don't fight it. Don't try to rush to the conclusion of the story. Live the chapter you're in right now fully. I want to go back to something for a second. The combination of death and the star in this reading is really powerful. Death represents the ending and transformation, and the star represents the hope and healing that comes after. Your ex is somewhere in that journey. They've experienced the death of the relationship, they're going through transformation, and the star suggests they're finding their way toward healing and hope. The fact that you're associated with the star energy in their heart means you're not associated with pain or trauma for them. You're associated with light and inspiration. That's actually beautiful, even if the relationship is over. It means you made a positive impact on their life. You left them better than you found them in some way. And that's something to feel good about, regardless of whether you ever speak again. But Gemini, you also need to be your own star. You need to be your own source of hope and inspiration. You can't look to your ex or anyone else to provide that for you. The Nine of Pentacles is asking you to be self-sufficient emotionally, and the star energy needs to come from within you, not from external validation. This is really about maturity and growth for both of you. The Hierophant that showed up is all about that too. It's about learning the right way to handle difficult emotions and complex situations. Your ex is trying to be mature about this, to follow a path that's considered healthy and appropriate. And you need to do the same. That might mean unfollowing them on social media if seeing their posts hurts you. It might mean asking friends not to update you about what your ex is doing. It might mean going to therapy to process your feelings. It might mean journaling or meditating or talking to trusted people in your life. Whatever helps you move through this in a healthy way. The Nine of Pentacles especially is about creating boundaries and protecting your peace. You have to decide what you need in order to heal and grow, and then you have to enforce those boundaries even when it's hard. Even when part of you wants to keep tabs on your ex or stay connected in some way, you have to ask yourself, is this serving my highest good? Is this helping me become the person I want to be? And here's something else I want you to consider. The question you asked was, is your ex still emotionally attached to you? And the cards said yes, they are. But I want you to ask yourself a different question now. Are you still emotionally attached to them? And more importantly, is that attachment serving you? Because attachment isn't always healthy. Sometimes we stay attached to people or relationships not because they're good for us, but because they're familiar. Because letting go is scary. Because we've invested so much that walking away feels like admitting defeat. But the Nine of Pentacles is asking you to choose yourself over attachment. To choose your peace and growth over the comfort of holding on to something that's already ended. Your ex is attached, but they're managing that attachment by focusing on themselves and their growth. You need to do the same. Feel your feelings, acknowledge the attachment, and then consciously choose to prioritize yourself anyway. That's maturity. That's wisdom. That's self-love. The Ace of Wands that came up for your ex's emotions about you, that passionate spark, it's a reminder that what you had was real. It mattered. There was genuine connection and chemistry. But here's the truth about sparks. They're not enough to sustain a relationship long-term. You need more than passion. You need compatibility. Shared values, emotional maturity, communication skills, all the things that make a partnership actually work. So even though your ex still feels that spark when they think of you, that doesn't mean getting back together would be the right move. It just means the feelings were real. And you can honor that without needing to act on it or resurrect something that already ended for good reasons. I hope this reading has given you some clarity, Gemini. Not necessarily the answers you wanted, because I know part of you probably wanted me to say yes, your ex is desperately in love with you and they're going to reach out tomorrow. But the cards gave you something more valuable than that. They gave you the truth, a complex, nuanced truth about someone who is still processing their feelings but choosing to focus on themselves right now. And they gave you clear guidance. Focus on you. Build your life. Fill your cup. Become independent and self-sufficient. Create abundance and beauty in your world. And trust that whatever is meant to be will be, in the right timing, without you having to force it. The emotional attachment your ex has isn't going away overnight, but it's also not controlling their choices right now. They're being intentional about their path, and you need to be intentional about yours. Let them have their journey, and you have yours. Maybe those journeys will intersect again in the future. Maybe they won't. Either way, you're going to be okay. Better than okay. You're going to be thriving if you take the guidance of these cards to heart. Thank you for trusting me with this question. I know it's vulnerable to wonder about an ex's feelings, but I hope you can take what resonated from this reading and leave what didn't. Trust your intuition about what feels true for your specific situation. And remember, you have all the power you need within you to create a beautiful life, with or without your ex in it. Take care of yourself, Gemini. You deserve all the love and happiness in the world, and it's already on its way to you, especially if you stay focused on becoming the best version of yourself.